Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Austin here, bringing you guys a very exciting TvZ matchup between two brothers from the WCS Europe Finals. This is from the last round of the losers bracket, so the losers bracket finals between LucifroN, the blue Terran at the bottom left of Daybreak, up against VortiX, the red Zerg at the top right. These players are both members of Caronte Esports Club, a Spanish team, and they are brothers. Very, very solid players overall. LucifroN won the Spanish finals of WCS 2-0 over VortiX, to my knowledge. So entering this game, their direct match history was favoring LucifroN. Well, their recent match history, because I believe they had faced off prior to that a few months ago or maybe even a year ago. Both of these players have been gaining more attention in the scene. They have a lot of talent, but that only came into the public view, truly, in this event in particular. Before then, it didn't exactly have that much time to shine. In WCS Spain, they were the top two, but that wasn't too widely impressive, as they dominated that tournament easily. Then coming to WCS Europe, pitted up against some of the best players of their continent, they were just able to power their way through to the losers bracket finals. I know for a fact that Stefano dropped LucifroN down to the losers bracket. I forget exactly how VortiX got down there. Might have also been to a... I do not believe it was to Stefano. I forget off the top of my head. Not Baby Night. I'll have to look that up and possibly post it in the description who exactly won against VortiX to drop him down to the losers bracket. LucifroN is going for a fast expand before even building his racks, so a 0 racks fast expand. He is now getting it, and just something to point out from some other games I've seen of his, he loves to play a crazy mech style in TvZ, a very notably crazy mech style that has a lot of success against Zergs across the world. Reading up on LucifroN prior to seeing him, I watched some of the WCS Spain finals, so I do recall his play against VortiX and his just awesome use of mech, and I also had read up on him on Team Liquid prior to this event as a whole. I spend a lot of times on those forums. A lot of time. What am I saying? A lot of times. A lot of time on those forums and Wikipedia, just catching up on my esports when I can't catch events or don't know exactly how a player likes to play. I was watching a little bit of the WCS Asia finals this weekend, and the Asus ROG, the Good Invitational. Too Good is a huge esports figure located in Sweden. He's from the UK. Hosted a small-time 8-man tournament this weekend. The games were pretty nice, and I will hopefully bring you some matches from that tournament next, or possibly WCS Asia. I wasn't able to see too many games from that event, but I heard that there were a lot of epic matchups, and again, if I can get my hands on some replays soon, you will definitely see some games casted by myself upcoming on the OS77 StarCraft 2 channel. We see LucifroN getting an orbital command, just about to morph, which I've complained time and time again sounds so Zerg-like. He's now getting a fast factory, so knowing LucifroN's past and his tendencies, this is not a 1-1-1 or anything of Hellion Pressure. Possibly Hellion Pressure, but not 1-1-1 Hellion Banshee, which tends to be quite a common opener versus Zerg. I would believe LucifroN is going to get this reactor switch up with his factory to get Hellions quickly and stick on this tech rather than jumping up to the starport. I could be wrong, but he does... Oh, look at that! I could be wrong. I'm finishing what I'm saying and I'm wrong. 1-1-1 Hellion Banshee then. My mistake. That is transitionable, however, as he can still opt for pure mech out of this 1-1-1 style. I'm not quite sure exactly the Terran player I recently casted who played like this in the opening minutes of the game. It was likely MVP versus Slivko. I do remember MVP heading for straight mech after opening up with 1-1-1 Hellion Banshee. And it seems to me as though LucifroN will again be switching up his racks with his starport, and there we go. We've got the tech lab on the starport, so ladies and gentlemen, you know exactly what's on our way. How will LucifroN's brother VortiX be able to deal with this harassment? Evidently, as they're on the same team and they are directly related to one another, it's quite logical to assume they play with each other an awful lot. So they're probably quite well educated on how one another likes to play the TvZ matchup or ZVT matchup. It's the same thing, but you understand what I mean. When it's a player's perspective, if it's the Zerg player's perspective, they call it ZVT, and Terran's it's TvZ, just so that when you're talking about build orders, you know exactly which player this build order is intended for. So now, LucifroN doing some light damage to this hatchery. It is in the yellow. Oh, big deal. And he's getting Cloak on his Banshee, so that is quite an investment. The Overlord will see the starport with the Tech Lab, which is quite huge, even seeing the Tech Lab researching Cloak. So, if LucifroN VortiX is now building Spore Crawlers, I was going to say if he can get Spore Crawlers up, he'll be in good standing. Well, he will be in good standing for certain, as he's building them now. He's now moved in one Banshee with a clump of 6 Hellions. That's terrible counting on my part. VortiX pulling back with his Queens, going to get a nice defensive position here, blocking off any possible entrance for the Hellions. He's only now getting his Ling speed. I've seen that out of, I think again it was Slivko that delayed his Ling speed heavily to be able to, or possibly, I don't even remember. It's been a while since I casted that series, but there was one player I've casted recently that delayed his metabolic boost in order to get 3 bases fast and saturate those 3 bases quickly. There are a lot of Hellions currently on the map. Now this Banshee going to move in cloaked, possibly to finish off the hatchery, as there is no Spore Crawler over here, and it would take quite some time to run that over. Meanwhile, LucifroN is going to run some Hellions over towards the main. Ling's not able to get a surround at all. The Hellions just roasting them up. There are still 4 left. The Queen helping DPS down these Hellion bikes from LucifroN. He has 2 left. Will he be able to get a good roast off on the drones? Here's quite a huge lineup. VortiX does not want to set that up for his opponent. A good number of drones dying there. This one Hellion has 15 kills total. That is obscene. Now, there are 2 more moving into the 3rd location. I do not believe the hatchery will die, but VortiX, despite knowing exactly what was coming, losing a total of 11 drones to his opponent's relentless aggression. Meanwhile, back at LucifroN's base, he's finished up a 3rd command center. He's got double armory with 1-1 researching for his vehicles, and adding on 2 more factories with tech labs, keeping the reactor on one of them, so he'll be able to produce Hellions, and then likely with these double tech labs get siege tech and blue flame for them. Still making another Banshee as the Spore Crawler of VortiX building at his 3rd. The Overseer now moving over with 4 Queens, able to fend this off. It does only have 2 kills, but it's kept VortiX on his toes. Don't forget, when his micro skills are entirely in use, it is quite difficult for him to be able to get his tech going all the while. Meanwhile, while LucifroN's pushing out, he's still microing, but he has a lot more free space. He doesn't have to worry about defense and get all his defensive structures up, while VortiX is always anticipating the next step in his opponent's aggression. So I would argue that LucifroN, by just keeping, even though with his Banshees he hasn't been able to deal too much direct damage, he's just been able to bottle up his opponent and keep a comfortable position in this game. He's building 1 Viking now, possibly to pick off some Overseers or just gain general air dominance. A lot of Infestors on their way out here from VortiX. He will be able to get some solid fungals off on those low health Hellions if he micros well. Able to fungal down both of these Banshees, one of them cloaking but not escaping with its life, blowing up right over this fan. So it might have just exploded and then just got blown up into the air, or if the fan was operating, no, I was going to say operating the other way, but that doesn't make any sense for fans. We'll get out of fan talk and move over to the Lynx here with the Hellions just jousting around one another. VortiX trying to gain map control, and LucifroN being wary of not getting them surrounded. Our Red Zerg is getting Neuroparasite and his 2-2 upgrades. A Thor, 3 tanks, and 2-2 now on the way from LucifroN, in addition to a Raven. Quite a nice mix of Terran 3rd and 2nd tier units. VortiX now moving over with these Infestors. If he can get 1 nice fungal off and then chain it, all of these Hellions could be doomed. But as I was saying before with this fan, I was going to say that if the fan was operating the other way, then the pieces of the Banshee would just get cut up. But then I realized that doesn't make too much sense, because don't fans, if the blades are spinning, it's still going to blow air in both directions? Does that make sense? I do not know how fans work at all. That's the one topic I'm not educated on at all. Not really a mechanical guy, but if you are, let me know. And let's get back into some StarCraft talk. We have our Siege Tech halfway done with Infernal Pre-Igniter researching. So while LucifroN is being very mobile with these Hellions, and mobile in two different regards at that, as he has another contingent of 4 Hellions moving out across this side of the map, he is equally able to deal some serious damage to... He's equally able to keep a nice defense up at home, all the while roasting a bunch of drones here at LucifroN's VortiX's natural. His total kill count is up to 22. I'm going to pause real quick just to... Oh, the sound is lowered. I set it to 100 when I'm actually playing, and I thought it remained that way. For some reason, my settings have been saved for replays and then for Battle.net, so... my apologies for that little delay. I just wanted to be sure that you can hear my voice fully, because one game not too long ago I had 100% volume and it was very hard to hear me speaking. So I was saying that LucifroN keeps a nice defense up at home because he has these Thors preventing any sort of aggression from his opponent if he's trying to go for a wing round by Thors. Just, I would argue, a very strong all-around unit. They don't counter anything directly, but they'll deal solid DPS without any major weaknesses or strengths. That's why they're included to some degree in most Terran mech compositions, as they're able to just deal with air to a reasonable degree, and equally have a nice DPS on the ground. 33 damage versus ground units, and 7 versus air, but 14 versus light. Very impressive range of 10, however, and that damage goes up to 8 and 16, and then 36. LucifroN carefully sieging up and moving onto the edge of his opponent's creep. He's going to possibly pick off this Overseer, like I said, just abusing the range of these Thors. Not able to get the Overseer, but he has a nice siege up, and he's going to deal some damage to some Lings. Now, VortiX moving over with an impressive Broodlord count of approximately 8. Well, exactly 8. And now he's able to get a good surround off one of the Thors. Another one may possibly go down. There's a Neural Parasite on one of the Thors. It is dealing a lot of damage to its own units. LucifroN has been forced back. Very nice move there from VortiX, just dominating his opponent. Now needs to kill off this Thor, and he will be able to easily, as it's separated from the rest of the Terran mech army. But all the while, LucifroN is up at 4 operational bases, with a 5th just now finishing. So he definitely has the bank and the income to keep himself completely afloat in this game. It's just a matter of whether or not he slips up and allows his opponent to get a massive Broodlord count. If you guys caught the last game, Grubby versus Red, Red had an insane Broodlord count, something like 24, and he only lost the game because Grubby was able to kill all of his structures. But that's another story in itself. LucifroN is under siege here at his 4th base. He does not want to lose this PF location. He would be able to fall back on this base over here, but it would still be quite inconvenient to lose this established base. Some Hellions running in there. I just narrowly missed it, and sniping a lot of drones. 34 workers killed in total from LucifroN. Extremely impressive. Look at that. Even more now. Blue Flame devastating to drones. 23 damage versus Light. Not Life, the Zerg player in the GSL finals. So drones only have 40, so it takes 2 blasts from Hellions to kill drones. LucifroN's base is narrowly surviving here. 1 Thor dealing some anti-air damage to the Broodlords. Agonizingly slow, as it only deals 8 damage, and it will shortly fall. 1 Broodlord did die. There's a PDD in the air, several of them absorbing some hits from the Corruptors, but they have their energy has run out, so they will not be able to absorb any more. It looks like VortiX is forcing his opponent back. The supply's very even here. Several mules called down there from LucifroN, going to give him essential minerals to be able to repair this planetary fortress even further. It's been alive for so long under the aggression of these Broodlords. LucifroN is pumping out Vikings and Thors to exactly what he needs. He's even getting air weapons level 2. The Corruptor count is very high now. They're moving into a missile turret, which will definitely give LucifroN something of an edge in the skies. He's microing as best he can, trying to abuse the Vikings' range, but it is all too difficult with LucifroN chasing him down. two of these Corruptors very low in health, however, so I don't think VortiX's air advantage is going to last very long, but it looks as though this Planetary Fortress will finally fall. LucifroN losing it, but now he's going to be able to force his opponent back, sniping two of these. One Corruptor, the other one just has 7 health. I was ready to say 2 Corruptors. VortiX all the while getting some Ultralisks, well, at least an Ultralisk Cavern, which foreshadows some Ultralisks, and attacking this 5th orbital command, killing it. So definitely a slip up there from LucifroN, because like I said before, if he lost his 4th butt, he could have fallen back on his 5th, except for the fact that he just absent-mindedly let it die. And he's now producing Vikings off a multitude of starports, but they are going to be under attack here from some broodlords. The Corruptors engaging this orbital command. LucifroN is only 1 base behind his opponent, and he does have this orbital established. He just needs to get it mining. So I think VortiX should definitely have taken a 5th base by now, as he needs to seize this edge and solidify it, rather than attack, force his opponent back, but not produce any further hatcheries. 4 bases is a good number for Zerg up until around, I'd say, 18 to 20 minutes if they're truly playing aggressive and they're hoping to win the game outright. Now LucifroN getting a hell of a lot more drone kills there. He's been relentless on that 4th base, so 74 total workers killed. So I would say effectively VortiX is mining off of 3 bases at the moment, and even more drone kills. Now this is absurd. 85 workers killed. That's almost an AUS-77 SC channel record. I think possibly 90 something might have been the previous best. There's now 92, so as soon as we get to 100, then it's positive that LucifroN has broken that milestone. But VortiX moving out slowly but surely across this map. He's got a high broodlord count of 7. Chitin is waiting for his Ultralisks producing, but no Ultras themselves on their way. He's going to again besiege the 4th base of LucifroN. Our Blue Terran has forced VortiX, has taken a lot of drones off VortiX. He's only down to 36 to 69 SCVs. He's not reproducing any, so he's just hoping to win this game outright. There are a lot of tanks on the ground and several Thors. The Viking count quite nice, but half of them getting fungled by some infestors of VortiX. They're all low in health. The Corruptors have so very durable, able to overrun them. 125 health for Vikings and 200 for Corruptors, so that definitely gives them a solid edge despite LucifroN's 2-0 upgrades. This is 1 versus 2, and one of VortiX's Corruptors full health, not going to die anytime soon. Now, the broodlord slowly pushing LucifroN back. Will he be able to hold on here? If he can, he's definitely in great standing to win this. 67 workers to 36, but he is going to call the GG. And ladies and gentlemen, VortiX has taken this game despite, I would argue, LucifroN having an economical edge. He just could not deal with these broodlords no matter how many Vikings he made. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this game. I sure did. I'll bring you a new series from a new event quite soon. New game. I'm not doing series anymore, as I mentioned a couple videos back. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed.